I'm in the empire business.
Everybody love everybody!
You all know exactly who I am.
What's up, guys? How we doing? I'm here with my buddy, Johnny Hopper, and the smartest man on the planet that I know, at least that I know, Coach Rob Beams. How we doing, guys?
We're doing good, man. Thanks for the intro. Appreciate it.
So we've got an interesting topic today. There's now two Supercross series. They're both calling themselves World. One is called Super Motocross, which is the dumbest possible name you could ever have.
I think Super Duper Cross sounds better.
Yeah, I do too. If they would have went with that, I'd probably be happier with it. But instead, it's Supermoto. Supermoto is half street, half dirt. It is not a Supercross. But when you have a knucklehead that runs Circus running it. But anyway, I'm going to give you guys each a minute to tell me what your thoughts on the differences between World Supercross, what has it affected, and just maybe give me some thoughts. And then we're just going to banter for about 5 minutes or so. Johnny, what are your thoughts on this World Supercross versus Supermoto Duper Cross?
I think the name sucks, but I think it's good for the sport. I wish there was less races. So 33, adding 2 more. We had 31. Now we have 33. It's just putting too much pressure on the riders, and it is absolutely rebuttaling to World Supercross, trying to get riders to come in here. I'm sure contracts are now going to state that, hey, you have to run the full season. You're not allowed to compete. You know, we had the whole, between the golf organizations where they're trying to fight each other between the Saudi deal and the PGA Tour. You know, if you do one, you can't do the other. And that's why I think we have riders like Kenny that are changing the dynamic, starting with a privateer team, so that they're opening up to new opportunities. Because again, without innovation, we're going to fail. And the Super Motocross is innovating, especially with money. I just wish the money wasn't at the end of the series. It was influxed into all the races. All right.
We talked a little bit about it in another video. I just think it's, I don't know if using the word sad would be a soft word to use or not, but I do find it sad that our premier athletes, these guys that have gone through the amateur ranks and have given the best years of their life to build what we all look forward to, and that's the highest level of racing week in and week out. And instead of listening to what the riders have asked for, they were given the exact opposite. I mean, all I can think of is Tomac saying, look, the season's too long. You know, people get mad at him because he packs up and goes hunting. He's like, look, you know, I would love to represent the United States, but where do we get some time off? So how did they answer it? Add more races. So to me, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I can't imagine trying to be an agent nowadays, trying to edit the schedule or edit the contracts to accommodate these two different series, creating these absolutes, one and or the other. We just saw the fallout with Kenny and Honda associated with it. It's only going to get worse, unfortunately.
So this Super Motocross Championship is brought upon by a circus promoter. And I'm absolutely disgusted that they bring out Kenneth Feld. If you guys want to drop a quick Google Kenneth Feld history, Kenneth Feld scandal, and you're going to find a whole bunch of stuff. It's not like this stuff's very buried. It's open. And why would you put this guy who is known? I mean, he's been attacked by PETA and all these different organizations because he does not care about his performers. It's a chronic thing. And that's why adding these to the events, he doesn't care. It's about that bottom line. And then to see MX Sports head person, Carrie Coombs, who we all know has been running it the whole time, and Davey's just her figurehead, see Carrie Coombs up in there looking like Jordan, you know, Burns from The Simpsons, you know, just rubbing their money together. Let's make more money, more money. Don't worry about the riders. Don't worry about the athletes. It's all about us and our sports, and they're toasting wine is just disgusting to me. And I don't know where to go from that other than I'm glad that there's an extra money for the riders. But my question is, where the hell was that money before? It's always been there.
Well, I mean, I guess to rebuttal you, Cooksey, is if it's not broke, don't fix it. And the riders have been open about that it's not broke because they keep showing up to the races. You know, so from a business standpoint, it's like, truthfully, that's how most businesses are run. You know, you look at what's going on with Twitter and Elon Musk now, they're uncovering a bunch of stuff that has been not so straightforward when it comes to how to run a business. And so this, I think we've got more to gain from it than to actually some negative to it besides the rate. It's a longer series. There's more opportunities for the riders at the end of the day.
What it shows me is there is money. Like, these people wouldn't come here and take over this if there wasn't money in it, because they've been crying poverty forever. I've seen the contracts. You guys have seen the contracts.
Yeah.
This sport is extremely profitable.
I'd like to see some Supercross contracts at one of the stadiums.
It doesn't go to the athletes. It doesn't go to the performers. And, you know, if you do some look about the circus and how the Barnum and Bailey circus was ran, the performers never made shit. The performers were living on, you know, and there's, like I said, it's worth a Google. There's a lot of really bad stuff, and that's the same guy.
But were the performers trapped to do that? I mean, they chose to do it, correct? I mean, the same thing. Riders don't have to race, but so I'm just being devil's advocate with you.
But Johnny, you bring up the point that's going to create. I agree with you right now. The appearance is there's more opportunity, but what you're doing is you're creating dissension and you're making an absolute decision. What I see happening is I see the series splintering, and you're now going to become, if you want to focus on outdoors, you're going to have to go the MXGP route. If you're going to go Supercross, you're going to have to agree, or you're not going to have to agree. You're going to put your contract together that says, I'm still Supercross only. Remember what I said? It isn't about what the series is offering. It's about what the manufacturers are going to contract with the rider to do. We said it earlier. Cooper Webb is going to go to Yamaha next year, more than likely. Supercross only. You've got contracts this year. Eli Tomac, Supercross only. So it doesn't matter what the series puts in place. It's going to boil down to what are the manufacturers going to agree with the agent, with the rider, that they're going to contractually do. I think you're going to see more splintering now than you've ever seen before.
You make a good point, because the privateers aren't going to be the ones qualifying for the Super Motocross playoffs at the end. Mm-hmm. You know, they're just filling right there, and that's why everyone. I'm a libertarian that doesn't really believe in unions, but however, in some instances, you know, you look at all the GoFundMes when a rider gets hurt, and I mean, Tomac even made a GoFundMe for his mechanic that was with him for 10 years, that he didn't make enough money to fight cancer. Granted, cancer is incredibly expensive. You know, anybody that's been with it, my remorse goes out to you, because it is highly expensive. But my point with Heart Raft and everyone, why does every time somebody get hurt, all of a sudden here's an influx of a GoFundMe? Because the riders aren't making enough, and there's not an insurance group policy involved that could really benefit the sport as a whole, because it is incredibly dangerous.
Well, and Johnny, I'm not a pro-union person, but there's some sports that you look at, and that's how they got better. Like, they got better with the union. Football, baseball, basketball. Equality makes the sport healthier. Unfortunately, that's the only way to do it. But how to unionize these guys, I don't know. You need some sort of association, and until they get off their asses and everybody quits walking about me, it'll take a generation of guys to just bite the bullet.
Here's a thought that we've been talking about for almost 5 years is, if we're talking about equality, an F in stock class, so that everyone has a spec tire, and there's that word again, means also known, or a continuation of more like the same. That
it's a ...
Yeah, there is no big bores, no PEDs, blah, 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 just sheerborn stock class, I think could level the sport up. Just add, why couldn't we just add another class as opposed to add 2 more races?
Well, let me play devil's advocate with both of you guys. Why don't we emulate a model that's been proven to work? Formula One. We've talked about it in previous shows together. There's an entire Netflix special that's out there. And Johnny, you said this in your last video, creating personalities out of these people, market the personalities, split. Again, I am not, gosh knows, I am not a redistribution of wealth dude. I'm the last person that's going to preach that.
Yeah.
But if you look at a model that a percentage of the TV revenue gets split amongst the teams, think about this, and this is the last comment I'll make. There isn't a single race team in motocross that is of any equity value whatsoever.
Well, and we're talking about WSX versus, SMX. World Supercross is actually trying to do that, Coach. It wasn't super successful, but they are trying to follow that. So you need 5 more minutes here, Johnny?
Oh, I figured we could just keep going at least 5 more minutes on the topic, if not.
To me, you got to
there's a topic, this one's worth it.
The hardest part is not getting emotional. When you start saying someone's kids are ugly, people lose their brains and they go more emotional. Then we're looking at, and you guys have said it on your own shows way more and more eloquently than I can ever do it. We're not trying to badger or badmouth anyone. We're asking for people to step back and look at the health of the sport from the reality of the sport, not the half a dozen people that are banking a shitload of money. How do you grow a sport? You've got to create equity.
Competition.
If competition, first of all, free enterprise lowers prices and increases quality through competition. That's reality.
We had government healthcare with Supercross and Motocross. Now we have World Supercross here. So there's, stupid analogy, but Adam Bailey, what he's doing with World Supercross is only making our sport here in America better. And I am happy for it. And I know we all sometimes get criticized for being negative on the sport. We just expect so much of the sport, if I'm speaking freely on my behalf, and we just want it to grow. We want it to be around. I want it to be around for my kids, and eventually, there needs to be an integration of a women's class for the live TV broadcast and all of it, because, a girl that wants to ride motorcycles, she's like, there is no guarantee of making money at ever racing motorcycles, really, with how it's been going down. And so if we're really trying to lift it up, there's a good demographic of women. I would say at least maybe 10, 15, 30% of women that race motorcycles.
Yeah. And there's some... Go ahead, Coach.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, you go ahead. I insist, Coach.
One of the things that I got, into a recent conversation with is, and I'm not trying to name drop here, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but look at Hayden Deegan's sister. She is very attractive. She's a good racer. She's got her dad's brilliant. He creates a marketing package around her. Then you look at, I'm fortunate enough to work with Sophia Phelps, attractive young girl, a good speaker, educated. She's the new generation of an Ashley Feilich. So when you look at, because where I got in trouble is people say, oh, you're trying to, I'll just say what they told me. Oh, you're trying to make it a sexy thing. No, it's Ken Roxon is marketable. He's in Men's Health and Fitness. He's got his own cologne line. He's got sponsors outside of motocross. Why? Because he's marketable. Hayden Deegan's sister is marketable. Brian has done a phenomenal job of making her marketable, but she can kick ass in a race car, regardless of looks and persona and personality and all that goes with it, which they're very good at. If as soon as you start saying, let's create a marketing package, if it's female, oh, it's being sexist. No, it's not. It's about creating a marketing package. Ken Roxon is marketable. Chase Sexton is marketable. Some athletes are a little less marketable. We've seen it. Jeremy McGrath is probably one of the most, and goes down in history as one of the most marketable racers.
Vince Freeze, you're saying Vince Freeze isn't very marketable?
I don't think he's going to do very well. But
I think he's got his demographic, though.
He's got his demo.
Yeah,
but if you've got a business that would fit his MO, then you would have something. You would have back in the day when, ironically, Deegan ghost rode his bike over there and it was Metal Militia. That fit his MO.
Well, because it was so different from the clean-cut pretty boy Travis Pastrana.
But let's take this a step further. What was Brian Deegan so incredibly talented at? He built a company called Metal Militia.
Purple Cow.
And what is it we're talking about doing? Trying to grow the sport. And the same people are telling you can't grow the sport is Brian Deegan at the epicenter of our sport. He is the future of our growth of our sport. We all should give Brian Deegan a $100 bill because he has brought eyeballs into our sport that we've never seen before. And he built a company called Metal Militia with a group of freestylers that wasn't hip. And we're saying we can't grow a sport that's established in a stadium.
Dude, I see more Metal Militia t-shirts out in just random life than I ever see Tomac t-shirts or Roxon t-shirts.
But we're being told we can't grow our own sport. How does it make any common sense whatsoever?
No.
It doesn't.
It's influence. We all have some influence, and it all ends up in the same spot. Yeah. Back to what we're talking about.
They don't want to give up any control is what it is. So, all right, guys. Well, that wraps it up for this topic. We got one more, Johnny. Yeah. Okay, we got one more topic. So head over to Johnny's channel. We'll be dropping another video over there. And thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. We'll catch you later.
Peace.